Well, Boris Johnson actually, quite unusually, decided to travel up here to Washington, D.C. By train. And maybe he was proving his climate change credentials there. Maybe he was just trying to make sure that he had a bit of small talk to open his meeting with President Biden in about a couple of hours' time or so, because President Biden's quite a train enthusiast. On the agenda for that meeting, certainly climate change, certainly COP26. Prime Minister very pleased indeed with the extra money that President Biden has promised to contribute to the fund to help developing world countries with climate change. The Australian nuclear submarine deal, that's on the agenda. Afghanistan, what next? They don't want to rake over the coals of what just happened, but what next? That's on the agenda. Will the whole issue of the protocol in the Brexit deal, the Northern Ireland Protocol, will that come up? If it does, it won't be the Prime Minister bringing it up, it'll be Joe Biden, and that'll tell us something. And you would expect a British Prime Minister, particularly this Prime Minister, coming to the United States after Brexit to bring up the idea of a bilateral free trade agreement. Doesn't sound as though Boris Johnson is going to go down that route. The government pretty clear that there is, in the short to medium term, no chance of something like that happening. But one source on the trip is suggesting that Britain at the moment is looking at sort of gate crashing the trade deal that America has with Mexico and Canada, trying to sort of insinuate its way into that. That'll be a pretty complicated business, but it is being explored. As you were saying, the whole focus, though, in headlines back home has been on the gas crisis. And in New York this morning, just before Boris Johnson caught the train up here, I caught up with him and I started by asking him, would he consider pausing the cut of £20 in universal credit that's about to come in and hit people just as their energy bills are going up? Would he consider pausing that to remove the possibility of adding to those difficulties of the poorest families in the country?
Yeah, that would have in itself cost about £5 or £6 billion in taxes on low-income people. So you've got to bear that.
It depends where you put the taxes.
You've got to bear that in mind.
You could put the taxes somewhere else. But you must be inclined to help them out, mustn't you?
Let me just say that means another tax rise of about £5 or £6 billion. Let me just set the context. What's happening at the moment in the UK, as in many countries around the world, and I must repeat this, is that you're seeing the growing strains caused by the economy coming out of COVID, the huge supply chain blocks caused, ships haven't been moving, and particularly in gas. And the arrangements that we have in the UK for a price cap, which are particularly difficult for companies facing big spikes in the wholesale prices. Now, we're going to do everything we can to help consumers through what will be a period of adjustment, a choppy period, but we're also going to make sure that we address some of the immediate problems, such as the CO2, the carbon dioxide shortage, which you need for food, for the drinks industry. But what I think our viewers want to know is what's the medium-term, long-term plan as well. This will get better. It will get better, I think, very, very soon.
Well, Kwasi Kwarteng, your own business secretary, said it could be a very difficult winter.
It will get better.
But it could be a very difficult winter.
It will get better very soon. But what we need to do is make sure that we are putting in the long-term solutions. A spike in hydrocarbon prices, gas prices, shows us why actually the government is right to be pursuing the strategy that we are to invest in low-carbon energy sources. Hang on, low-carbon energy sources, wind, solar, nuclear, that can provide sustainable energy on which we can, in our country, can be self-reliant. And that, by the way, is a message that people around the world are getting. And it's very, very important for what we're doing here at the UN in the run-up to the COP summit.
You've taken emergency measures under COVID to try and ease hardship for people. You could do the same over universal credit, because this is a particular pinch point. Prices were going up anyway on energy because the cap was going up. They're going to go up even more, I mean really substantially for some people. They're a big part of a poorer household's income. They can't make up the money in working extra hours reasonably. These people are facing real hardship. pull the lever.
What you can do is that involves tax rises of 5 or 6 billion pounds, as I've said. But what you can also do is continue with the strategy that we're on, which is investing in skills, investing in people's futures. We're seeing wages now going up. 4.1% above where they were in 2019. That's the first time in decades that the British people are seeing sustainable wage rises. And that's because the strategy of this government
is to
go for a high wage, high skill economy.
That's a long-term thing.
With control, that's what's happening now.
There could be a cost of living crisis for a lot of people.
Wages are rising now. Because of the strategy that we've been embarked upon. And I think it's a better strategy to invest in people, to invest in skills with the super deductions, to invest in capital, to invest in technology, rather than relying on low skills, low wages, and uncontrolled immigration, which has basically been the approach of the last 20 years.
Cost of living.
So you're seeing a real difference in approach.
You're here talking about climate change. Do you think the time has come, as you say you did over health and social care, to look the British people in the eye and say, battling climate change, it's going to cost you. It's worth it, but it's going to cost you. It's not a free lunch.
You do have to invest in green technology.
Yes, you're
but it does pay off.
Yeah, but it's going to cost them.
You have to make investments in the short term in green technology, but it pays off. And look at what's happened with the price of energy from solar and wind. It has massively come down, and that is why it's worthwhile. This government is going to continue on that path. We're world leaders in what we're doing, but what it also means is that the people of this country will have millions of high-wage, high-skilled jobs in those green industrial sectors. And that is the advantage.
You're about to see President Biden. You told everyone in 2016 a US free trade deal was there for the taking, quickly in the back pocket. It would happen.
That wasn't me. That was the President of the United States at the time who said that.
No, the President of the United States at the time said you'd be at the back of the queue. And it turns out it's right. They've got better fish to fry, as you put it.
But it was the previous President of the United States who said that we would do a trade deal rapidly. I said nothing on that because I've had long experiences of dealing with
President Obama said you'd be at the back of the queue at the time.
He did say that.
You quibbled with that, and here we are at the back of the queue.
Well, if you want to, Gary, what President Obama did was he came and he made comments in the middle of a referendum campaign, which I disagreed with. I didn't think it was any business of the United States to intervene in our referendum campaign.
Turns out they're true.
But no, I didn't dispute that. What I disputed was his job to intervene in our referendum campaign. But what I'll tell you is that I've always thought that a trade deal with the US would be difficult because I know what the US is like what they're like as negotiators, and they're very, very tough. But here's some good news, Gary. Since this government has been in office, we've actually sorted out some of the most difficult trade issues that face us with the US. We've lifted the ban on British beef. How about that? Impassive. We've lifted the tariffs. We've lifted the tariffs on Scotch whisky.
Your aides and my time
is up, so
that's why I'm not interrupting.
We've lifted the tariffs on Scotch whisky, and what we've got today is an agreement that double vaccinated people from the UK can travel to the US. We've also solved the Airbus-Boeing dispute, by the way, which has been going on for decades. So on trade alone, a great record.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Thank you.